These are the plaintiffs, Kenneth and Heidi Gormley. Kenneth says they booked the defendant's wedding venue, but then he couldn't accommodate their party and now he won't return his money. That's right. The defendant, in essence, canceled on them, and they feel they deserve a full refund of the $2,000 they paid. That's why they're suing him. This is the defendant, David Cassioli. He says the plaintiffs got nervous about holding their wedding inside his venue due to COVID. So he told them he could move the party outdoors and still accommodate their wedding as planned. The plaintiffs either didn't like that idea or just plain changed their minds about getting married. But how's that his problem? He's accused of causing wedding woes.
All parties, please raise your right hands.
Welcome back to the People's Court. Next case on the docket. The plaintiffs say that they booked the defendant's wedding venue, but they weren't able to pull it off, and now they want a refund. The defendant says the plaintiffs got cold feet about getting married, and they're trying to back out of their contract with him, and they deserve nothing. It's the case of wedding woes.
Thank you, Douglas.
You're welcome.
Okay, Mr. and Mrs. Gormley, you are suing Francis Farms Holdings, and Mr. Cascioli, you are representing. You are one of the owners, correct?
That's correct.
Okay. You're suing them for the return of your $2,000 deposit for a wedding venue, which, thanks to the generator of all cases for 2021, thanks to COVID, you weren't able to do as planned. You believe you should get your money back. You believe it's not your fault and you shouldn't have to give it back. So let's talk to you first, Mr. and Mrs. Gormley. Who wants to speak first?
I'll speak. So Heidi and I, we went to look at the defendant's wedding venue, and we liked the grounds. It was very nice. I mean, there was a gazebo near a lake, where we were going to have an outdoor wedding, and we were going to have like 50 guests, and they were going to put the chairs out, near the gazebo, and it was just a nice place. It just seemed like he was going to be able to, it would be a nice place to have a wedding. We were going to get married September 12th of 2020. We were there in August of 2019. Before all this COVID and this pandemic stuff. So we didn't see.
When did you get your first inkling that there was going to be a problem? March 16th of 2020. But when did you get your first inkling? How close were you to the wedding date when you totally panicked?
He sent me an email, okay, that it said, and it was a very alarming email that he sent me, because it said that from the 50 guests, okay, we were having a small wedding, okay?
Is this what you're referring to?
Yes.
Okay, is this a text or an email? It looks like a text.
Well, yeah, I'm sorry, a text, yeah.
Dear Ken, with respect to our recent conversation of Sunday, June 28th, I am writing to bring you up to date. Phase 3, which just went into effect 2 days ago, Monday, July 6th, maximum guests would be 25% or 17 to 18 guests because you were going to have 50. Dance floor is prohibited. This is my personal favorite. Massachusetts, Connecticut's governors, who else outlawed dancing? Because I don't know even how you enforce that. Like if I go like this, if I talk with my hands, is someone going to come and smack me on the wrist? If I just go like this, is that dancing? If I do it twice, is it who is going to tell me I can't dance? I mean, I get the idea. I'm not an idiot. They don't want places where people congregate. Well, a place where people congregate is called a wedding. It's amazing to me, but it is what it is, and it is what Massachusetts did, and it is what several other states did. Dance floors are prohibited. Actually, at least the word dance floors was used by Massachusetts as opposed to dancing is prohibited, which was used by some other states. Bar is prohibited. Tables 6 feet apart. If there is a spike on cases, then we roll back to phase 2. All right. Obviously, you got this, and this is what you called the alarming text, and what happens then?
I mean, what do you do at a wedding? You dance. You have some drinks. I mean, after we got that text, my wife called them and said, look, we can't have it here. You know what I mean? She called him, and then he said to her that she was overreacting. She was just a nervous bride and everything else, which made me even more upset. Like, how would you like to get that call?
Okay, I got you. Mr. Cascioli, did you tell her, oh, these are just pre-wedding jitters, you're just being a nervous bride? Did you say that to her?
I'm sorry, I do not recall saying that, and that's not something I would typically say.
Yeah, because I don't think it's like hysterical female-y, if that really is a thing.
Yeah, I don't think
that hysterical. I mean, look, you're the bearer of the bad news. I understand it. You're just the messenger, and I understand that. Tell me your position on why it is, if they can't have the wedding that they contracted for, they should not have a refund of the money that they paid you.
If I can back up a little further, my first conversation, I actually spoke with Mr. Gormley twice. I returned his call somewhere in the period of Memorial Day weekend at the beginning of that season. And it was because he had heard what was going on and everything. He was naturally concerned. So he just wanted to establish that we were going to work with it. And I guess he just wanted a little reassurance that everything would probably be okay by their wedding date. So we just had that conversation, and we, recapped what was going on. And both of us concluded there was still quite a bit of time left, and things could very probably be okay. I did have a conversation with Mr. Gormley on the 28th, on June 28th. And I told him that what the state was, what was coming out from the state is there was a spike in all states that reopened too quickly. So Massachusetts was going to be conservative. I said at the present time, we're in phase 2 of a 4-phase program.
Okay, now my understanding is that their wedding was going to be on September 12th and that the state of Massachusetts did not change into the next phase until September 22nd. So here's what we have. We have them contracting to have a wedding that looks like this: 50 people, dance floor, bar, whatever. And then we have you caught in the middle. I know it, Mr. Cascioli. I understand. Believe me, I am not unsympathetic. And, what am I going to do, Judge? I got to do what the governor says. But here's my problem. I have these cases a lot since the dawn of COVID. And what I've got to figure out, and it really is very fact specific, it really depends on the circumstances. Sometimes the venues win. It's, hey, that was my 50th birthday party I wanted to have in that house on the shore, but my friends wouldn't fly in, so I wanted to cancel that 1-week rental. Well, no, the venue has nothing to do with what specific celebration you had in mind. And, it was still available. Visitors were able to come to the shore. So everything depends on the specific case that I have. In this case, we all know it was supposed to be 50 people. Now it's supposed to be 17. We all know there's supposed to be a dance floor, and now, no dance floor. We all know there's supposed to be a bar, and now there's no bar. So even though, this is like a game of musical chairs, who gets left holding the goods? You, the governor, or them? In this case, when there is an impossibility of performance, and it was impossible for you to perform because the governor wouldn't let you, who gets punished? Well, if they turned around and said, I want to sue this company for all of the airfare of all of my relatives who flew in and we couldn't have a wedding, in a million years, they wouldn't win. But if all they want is to be put in the position that they were in before the impossibility of performance happened, how is it their fault? I mean, I know it's not your fault, Mr. Cascioli, but how is it their fault? The bottom line is you can't perform and abide by the contract. It's not the same wedding. Now, some people may say, all right, I'll do a wedding next year. Don't give me my money back. I'll do a wedding next year. I'm going to a wedding that somebody did that about. But some people won't. They're the ones who won't. By the way, did you guys end up getting married?
Yes.
We ended up getting married, yes.
Where did you get married?
In his sister's backyard.
At my sister's backyard.
Right. So people don't want to spend, $4,000 on their wedding or whatever it is, when they are going to have 10 people there, or that people are telling them, separate. Were you two moving? Like when I was a child, when I was 16, I was still chaperoned by my mother, and we would go to parties, and then they'd be, make room for Jesus, and they'd separate you when you were dancing. Now, that is not what they had envisioned. You cannot abide by the contract. And in this case, I am ruling in favor of Mr. and Mrs. Gromley and ordering that the $2,000 be returned to them. Good luck, folks.
Thank you, Judge.
So the plaintiffs are going to get their money back. After all, let's see what the defendant has to say about this. Mr. Cassioli, are you surprised at the judge's decision?
I'm not really surprised. I knew it could go either way.
All right. Well, you heard the judge. You got to give them their money back. Let's see how the Gormleys feel about it. How do you feel about the judge's verdict? What do you think?
I love it.
We love it. We like Judge Milan. We watch her almost every day. I mean, we love it.
Last
And
question.
we were able to dance.
How's married life?
Yep. Go. I'll let my wife answer that.
It's an experience.
No, please. No, it's good. It's good. No, it's good.
Okay.
We just celebrate our 1-year anniversary last week, so that's good.
Congratulations.
Doug, this is another case where COVID is developing a new area of law. You have a situation where the plaintiffs really couldn't get the benefit of their bargain because there were limitations on the number of people they could have at the venue. So this is an area, it's almost like act of God, but realize this is determined state by state, and you could have wildly different views of this.
My daughter bought a dog with her boyfriend. They broke up. When she left, she couldn't take Cody with her, so she left him there. Now he will not give the dog back. What can she do?
The law treats dogs as personal property, right? As much as we don't want to think of them that way.
Now, because I'd turn in all of you before letting go of Sammy.
Right. I mean, half the time when you hear people arguing over the dog, you're like, I got to get a foster home for this dog because neither one of them is.
Right. But that's not how it works. And we don't have custody hearings on custody of the dog. So it's really a question of, whose property is it and who has to pay who for half of the value of the property.
Right.
And in this case, there's some facts missing too.
Exactly.
Like it's dogs are property.
Yeah.
And if you abandoned that dog 3 years ago, that is going to come into play.
Oh, absolutely.
If it was yesterday and he wouldn't give you the dog, that is going to come into play. So it just depends on the facts.
Well, you could bring the dog into court and have each party there and just let the dog in and see who he runs to.
And see who the dog runs to. I think that's a terrible idea. Of course, in our house, what would happen?
The damn dog would go to you.
Yes.
I'm sure.